Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Police probing murder-suicide involving couple in St. James. The police are investigating a suspected case of murder-suicide involving a couple in Cambridge, St. James. The victims have been identified as Robert Stewart of Ramtilly Boulevard at Cornwall Court in the parish and Elisa Simitson of Senior District in Hanover. The couple was last seen by neighbors about 6 p.m. on Monday. Reports were that a relative tried to contact Smithson but was unsuccessful. On Tuesday, residents rented the house and found her tied to a bed. On searching the premises, they found a man hanging from a piece of rope. Powell fined $45,000 for a gun loss. Member of Parliament for Kingston Eastern and Port Royal, Philip Powell, has been fined $45,000 for negligence in the loss of his licensed firearm. The sentence was handed down in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday morning after Powell pleaded guilty to the criminal negligence charge laid against him. He would have to serve 3 months in prison if the fine is not paid. According to Powell, sometime in July his firearm was stolen from his vehicle in Hope Pasture, St. Andrew, after he made an emergency stop. He stated that he made a report to the police the following day and even provided a detailed report to the Firearm Licensing Authority. On November 14, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Lowlin, announced that Powell is among 5 to be charged with negligence after losing their firearms. We are stunned. Residents and a politician were left in shock after 2 alleged gunmen were killed in a police military operation and a firearm reportedly seized on Tuesday morning. A third man who the police said was armed managed to escape. Belfield is located at 5 miles northeast of Mandeville. Councillor Maria Mitchell, People's National Party Belfield Division, said the community is stunned. We are not accustomed to things like this in the Belfield Division. We are a farming community. We are a very peaceful community, and we have produced great men and women from here, so I want to encourage everyone to stay on the straight path, he told journalists on Tuesday. Locals identified the deceased as Jerry 25 and Javi 21, both residents of Bel Air in Belfield. A senior police source said, at about 6 a.m. acting on information, the police sought the assistance of the military and went to a house in the community. The police got information that men with guns were in a house up there. On arrival, one man ran with a firearm. Another man pulled a firearm at the police and they took evasive action, the source said. 2 of the men were shot and taken to hospital where they were pronounced dead. The Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom is probing the incident. A woman, who asked not to be named, told reporters that the 2 men killed were not known of being involved in crime. This is very surprising. I don't know of them in any wrongdoing, but the one that ran away is the one I don't know much about, she said. Another woman shared similar sentiments as she described the deceased men. Javid was a quiet individual and Jerry was hardworking and he was a churchgoer. I never heard of them being involved in any gun violence, so this is really surprising, she said. When asked about the man who led the police, she was quick to describe an unscrupulous character. We're not surprised about him, he is a troublemaker. The one we run, him is the ringleader, she claimed. A man who asked not to be named also described the deceased men as hardworking. Jerry was a handyman. He worked on houses during construction and landscaping. Anything him get for do, him take it, even look farming. The 2 youth were dead, me know them good. We are go to school together. This is puzzling, he said. Government to roll out more mobile health systems in 2023. The Health Ministry will be rolling out more mobile health systems in the new year. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said more need to be done regarding community-based interventions for public health. Speaking at the opening of the Chapelton Community Hospital in Clarendon on Tuesday, he explained that the mobile health systems will go into communities and undertake health checks for residents.
If you look at our healthcare profile, the sick profile is rising, particularly in certain categories like cancers and so on, hypertension, diabetes. And the big part of the challenge is that people are not finding out their vulnerabilities early enough. They're not screening enough. They're not doing their checks. Our men are fearful of going to the doctor unless they're sick. But that's also a general cultural rule. Part of the response to that is for us to engage in more community engagement. And Chapelton represents a community health system that I hope will be taken advantage of. But we're going to roll out more in the new year, some mobile health systems where we go into communities and we encourage and incentivize persons to come out and do their health checks. That's the wave of the future. The solution to sickness is not just hospital beds. It is about people knowing their health profile and protecting themselves. Taking responsibility for your health is a key theme going forward.
I got clean justice. A mother who on one occasion had to sneak through violent wracked Pink Lane in Denhamton, Kingston, wearing a battle to hide her street clothes just to attend court to give evidence against her son's killer, on Tuesday described the life sentence handed down to him as clean justice. The convicted man, O'Neill Chambers, who pleaded guilty to the offenses of illegal possession of firearm and murder, was sentenced to 30 years at hard labor for the gun crime and life imprisonment for the murder, with eligibility for parole after serving 22 years by Supreme Court Judge Justice Leighton Pusey at the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston. The sentences will run concurrently. Justice Pusey, in noting that the killing was quite brutal and that the court could not condone his reasons for killing his friend, said he could not be sentencing Chambers to less than 27 years for the murder count. That 27 years was, however, boosted down to 22 years based on the fact that Chambers had already spent 4 years behind bars. Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn, King's counsel in the outlining the allegations before the court, said on the morning when Horace Anderson, otherwise called Rat, was killed, his mother had heard him arguing with Chambers. The mother said she was at the time unable to decipher what the argument had been about. According to the mother, she left the community for a short run to the market. While returning to home, she heard a barrage of explosions coming from the yard. She said she then saw Chambers and another man heading up Pink Lane. Shortly after, she learned that her son had been killed. The woman said she then asked the Jamaica Defense Force soldiers to search the yard where Chambers was, and they found him hiding under a bed. When asked by the mother why he killed Pitney, Chambers reported that he did so because Anderson was responsible for the death of another individual. He later told the police he had heard that Anderson was planning to kill him before he murdered him to avoid being killed himself. According to the mother, who told investigators that Anderson was her best child, she now suffers from insomnia, has since been diagnosed with high blood pressure, and has to be taking care of her son's 2 children. In countering Chambers' account as to why he killed her son, she said the accused had wanted her son to associate with friends of ill repute, which she refused to do, resulting to his death. On Tuesday, Chambers' attorney Tamika Harris, in rebutting the accounts from the Crown, said Anderson was killed because he had shot at her client and his friend and ended up being killed in what might have been a preemptive strike by her client. In noting that what her client did was wrong, Harris said the irony was the mother declaring that her best son was killed, as residents of the community had said he was no saint, was involved in criminal activities, and had friends who were involved in an ongoing feud with the friends of her client, which led to his demise. In pleading for leniency, Harris told the court that her client had been beaten by the police, and the station diary in which the original entry was made had mysteriously disappeared. She said given that he was beaten, it became questionable whether his confession was voluntary. Justice Pusey, in handing down the sentences, said the court could not support Chambers' action, which amounted to citizens taking the law into their own hands. He said the court was mindful that it was a gun murder of a serious matter of someone in the same community who was well known to the offender. Chambers, clad in striped shirt with tingle of pink and blue jeans, sat with an unscrupulous expression, barely blinking, with his hands clasped before his leg, his thumbs smearing with each other. Anderson's mother, speaking to reporters afterwards, rubbished the claims by defense attorney that her son was a gangster. "I don't pay she no mind," she said, adding that residents of the community are living in fear and have to disappear indoors by 6 p.m. daily. "I feel good. I have a daughter who, from his death, should not keep in well. I get justice. I get clean justice. I prayed. I get justice," the mother said. She has now lost 2 sons to gun violence, told reporters jubilantly. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification